Hello! This video will help you with classifying numbers. You will learn 4 different number sets today, including natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers. The first set of numbers is natural numbers. And I always tell kids, for something to come natural, it means that it's easy. So we think about the easiest numbers we learned. So we think back to the way that your parents taught you to count, and they taught you to start counting with the number 1. And you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up until 20, and eventually 100 when you started kindergarten and first grade. So natural numbers are those easy numbers that you learn to count starting with 1. And if you take a look at your word natural number, this right here, that L in natural looks like a 1. So natural numbers start with the number 1. The next set of numbers is whole numbers. Whole numbers includes those numbers that you learn to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it also includes 0. So the definition is positive integers including 0. If you look at the word whole, you'll realize the O in whole, and it looks like a 0. So that should be a helpful reminder that whole numbers include the number 0. The next set of numbers is called integers. Integers includes positive and negative whole numbers, including 0. So I have these dots down here in the beginning to show you that it keeps going back forever, but some examples would be -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again these dots indicate that it goes on forever and ever. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that it does use the word whole right here. There are no decimals and no fractions in integers. And the final set of numbers that we're going to talk about is rational numbers. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So we talked about natural numbers, which include the number 2. Can you write the number 2 as a fraction? Yes, you can put it over 1. So the number 2 is a rational number. We could talk about the number -7. Can you write that number as a fraction? Yes, you could write that as -7 over 1. So -7 is also a rational number. We could talk about decimals. 0.5 or 5/10 can be written as a fraction. It can be written as 1/2. So that too is a rational number. And then of course you have fractions themselves, which are already written as fractions. So fractions are also rational numbers. And finally, you will be asked to identify which number sets a number belongs. So I'm going to go through each of these 5 numbers and show you how you can decide which number sets they do belong to. So I'm going to start with the number 4. Number 4, if I started counting at the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 is included. So we say that that is a natural number. It is also a whole number because whole numbers start at 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means that it is a positive or negative whole number, so it's an integer. And I can write 4 as a fraction, so that makes it rational. My next number is 0. My parents did not teach me how to start counting at 0. They told me to start counting at 1, so 0 is not a natural number. 0 is a whole number, which means that it is an integer, which means that it is rational. The number -8 is not a natural number. It does not start at 1. It's also not a whole number because whole numbers start at 0. It is a positive or negative whole number, which makes it an integer, which means that it is also a rational number. My next number is the number 1.6, or 1 6/10. It is not a natural number. It is not a whole number starting at 1. It is not a whole number. It is not an integer, but it can be written as a fraction, so that is a rational number. And then I have the fraction 3/4. It is not a natural number. It's not a whole number starting at 1. It's not a whole number. It is not an integer, but it is a fraction. So it is a rational number. And these are the types of questions you will need to be able to answer regarding classifying numbers and number sets.